All right, so let's talk about some hatchets. So I had another viewer request, and kind of excited about this one. Got a lot of hatchets laid out here. I'm gonna go ahead and first discuss what their actual question was. So they have had an ACA in the past, and they really liked it. As you know, a lot of people do, myself included, because it's a little bit longer handle and a little bit lighter head. You get pretty good feel for that. Makes for quick movements and good balance. But they also mentioned that they had the Council Tool 19-inch, and I've got one of them laid out here, and they felt like it was maybe just a little bit too heavy head for that 19-inch handle. I'll get into that a little bit more. They also specifically ask that I address my feelings on the H&B, the Hults Bruk H&B. Let me go ahead and do a rundown here. I'm going to do a rundown over what I've got out on the table, and then I'm going to discuss some of the points that I like on each one. These hatchets are not all a direct comparison, say, to the Woodcraft 19-inch, but some of them I put out here more because they have a little bit more of that balance versus the lighter head on the handle length, even though some of the handle length are shorter. So let's go ahead and go through and take a look at each one. All right, so first on our side, we've got a Large Hunters by Wetterling. We've got a Stubai 400-gram hatchet. We've got a 7 Pines Forge outside axe. We've got a Mueller Beaver 400-gram hatchet. We've got a Mueller Beaver 600-gram hatchet. We've got a Prandi 600-pound hatchet. We've got the Hults Bruk H&B. We've got the Council Tool 19-inch Woodcraft. We've got a H&B belt axe. We've got a Snow and Neally. I forgot the exact name on that axe, but it's their hatchet. And I've got a Rhineland, a Helko Rhineland hatchet, and a Helko Pathfinder hatchet. So I'm going to go ahead and move back over here and start out on this side again and just give a few points on each one. So this is the Wetterling's Large Hunters. So we've got a handle length of about 19.5 inches, and it's classic. People love it. Fantastic axe. It's to me, its head is not super light though, so it makes for a great all-around hatchet, and definitely recommend it. Not necessarily my favorite, just because of that heavier head. All right, so moving on, we've got the Stubai 400-gram hatchet. To me, I'm not always a fan of the Rhineland styling. It's definitely, forged in Austria, so you're going to get that. It's got a shorter handle at 14 inches, but it's got good balance. It's got a little bit that lighter head, and the handle is thinner, so it gives it a good feel. So if you were looking for that lighter head for the handle, kind of for that feel of the ACA and a smaller hatchet, this is definitely something to consider. The 400-gram head is small. That's small. A lot of people like that for carving or the like. Now then we've got the 7 Pines outside axe. It, to me, is going to be much more of a replacement for like the Wetterling's Large Hunter. It's got a little bit of that wider profile on the head, and a good feel, but definitely a little bit heavier head. It comes in at just under 18 inches on the handle. All right, now we've got the Mueller hand forged in Austria. And once again, the handle, your grip is going to be a little bit bigger on it, but that smaller head kind of makes it feel like you've got a little bit more balance. So again, if you're looking for a little bit more balance to the size of the handle, definitely something to consider. Now the handle on it is shorter. You're back down to like the 13, so it's more comparable to like the Stubai. You can jump up to the 600-gram Mueller, and you're losing a little bit of that lighter ratio to handle length. But still a pretty good feeling axe. It's at 15-inch handle, so just keep that in mind for you there. Now we've got the Prandi, and the Prandis have been super popular over the last couple of years, and they've got that Rhineland styling, pretty good profile on the blade, definitely very smooth and good feeling. The balance feels really good on it. It's got a large, thick handle. I like that, but that is something to keep in mind. The handle length on it is about 14 inches, so they've been very popular. Definitely take a look at those. Now we've got the H&B, and The H&B is a little bit larger than some of these other hatchets that I've been talking about, and I put it on here because it was specifically asked about by the viewer. So to me, its head, it's almost, you're almost getting up there to the acre length. It has a handle length of 20 inches, so you're only like that 3 or 4 inches off of that acre. The head probably weighs as much as the acre does. Let me go ahead, since we were specifically asked about this, I'll go ahead and throw it on here and let you know what it's looking like. So a total weight of like 2 pounds 10 ounces. And if I kind of try to get an idea, you're probably looking, the head may actually weigh slightly more than the acre. I would have to look up the exact specs. I can't remember that off the top of my head. But anyways, I don't feel like if you were looking for something that had more of a feel on the acre, not exactly sure that this is going to be your fit. It's definitely a fine feeling axe, and many people will like it. I like it myself, but it's just not getting that lighter head versus the handle length ratio. So keep that in mind. If that's something you were looking for, you may want to consider something different. Now, I'll go ahead and hold this up here in comparison to that acre. Again, since that was a specific question. You can see, I would say the head is actually considerably less on this hatchet compared to the H&B. So the handle length is 18 inches, and to me, this actually has a good feel. It's obviously heavier, or per the ratio. Again, I want to make sure and get that, because these heads are not necessarily heavier than the acre, but just per the ratio of the handle length. This has a good feel to me, but it's obviously a heavier head. And again, I can't say it enough, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, probably of the hatchets that are out here on the table, my favorite, again, in considering trying to get a smaller hatchet to the size of the acre, to the feel of the acre rather, it's going to be this H&B. You've got a handle length of 16 and a half, so almost 17. The head is fairly light. You've got a fairly thin blade there. Really good feel, really good balance, hickory handle, and I think this might be the hatchet for you. I would definitely look into it and maybe read some reviews on it if you like H&B hand forged in the USA, and that's pretty cool. But you've got that lighter head. It's lighter head and on a little bit longer handle. The ratio really speaks nicely to it. I'll go ahead and give you an overall weight on this one, and you're looking at 1 pound 7.5 ounces. If I was to try to get maybe a little bit of the head weight, I would guess that you'd be looking, when I hold the handle up, you're looking at 1 pound 2 ounces. So obviously you've got some handle weight in there. I'm saying it's probably around a pound head, maybe slightly less. So definitely check that out. You can get a little bit better view there, since this is kind of what I'm pointing out there for you. Really gets good forge lines. H&B Forge does fantastic work. Really recommend them, and can't speak more highly of them. All right, the Snow and Neely hatchet here, and a handle length on it is 14 and a half inches. They're made here in the USA. Kind of a nice little hatchet, very basic styling, and its head is a little bit lighter. I don't necessarily get like it is, the ratio is super good on it. Its head is a little bit heavier per its styling. So another thing, always make sure, anybody who purchased the Snow and Neely, I like to point out, you're gonna have to sharpen it right off the get-go. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. The steel is wonderful. It takes a little bit to get it sharp, but it stays sharp. So don't, nobody overlook the Snow and Neely. Now the Helko, which was hand forged, the Rhineland hatchet, hand forged in Germany, and it's got that Rhineland styling, and these are a pretty nice little axe. But again, we're looking at about 14 and a half inches on the handle, and the head weight, again, it's got good balance, but I just don't know if you're getting that ratio per head weight that you would see on this H&B. So definitely something to look into, and the quality is wonderful, but just you know, going on that. Now jumping over here to the Pathfinder. Pathfinder definitely has some appeal to it, with that mirror finish, And again, I'm going to kind of compare it very similar to the Snow and Neely as far as the head weight ratio. It's got a good balance and a good feel, but just not quite as light on the head per the length on the handle. So I'm going to go ahead and come back around and say, if anybody wants to see any reviews or comparisons of any two of these or whatever, feel free. Shoot us a message, and like, subscribe, because we will be doing some reviews, individual reviews on these axes. We've already done some of the reviews on these, if you want to go back and check out some of our older videos. But yeah, kind of excited to have all these out today, because this kind of makes a cool looking table, and definitely I want to get to some hatchet work. So enjoy, like, subscribe, check out our website, ring the bell so that you'll be notified on some of our reviews and other videos, and we'll see you on the next video.